Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Almost Woodworking. This is crazy, too. No, I don't work for myself anymore, and I used to be a woodworker as a means of income, but I quit for, I guess, a number of reasons, and we'll probably capture that in another episode. But today we're going to go through a number of projects that I did and how much I charged for those. So let's get into it. I'm kind of struggling with what to call each job, so I'm just going to label them by the street name they're on in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So we'll get into the first one here. It is Jackman Avenue, and it is a California king-size bed with a back wall panel, kind of integrated door, which leads to the back side of a crawl space. It's got two integrated side tables with sliding doors above, and it's got the two drawers we're sliding on a wenge, which is a hard African wood dovetail drawer slide. The client was the designer, and he was representing the actual tenant or the end user, and this is what we came up with. It's all in walnut. There's some sheet stock as well, and it had an integrated headboard, which another maker was responsible for, and I just did the install of the headboard after the fact. Really fun project. Really like doing this one. This was actually a fairly good profitable job for us, and what we charged was $21,600. The next project we're going to go through was on Alcorn, just off of Yonge Street in Toronto. It was for a bar for the dining room, and it was a pretty tall bar, if you ask me. It had actually no countertop integrated into it, but it was a tall bar with a slatted door system, and I made the connection with these dovetails for the skirt board and the legs, just like so. For the Alcorn bar, it was $6,200. And then we did a follow-up job for her, and that price was $4,750, and that was for some bedroom millwork with some floating shelves and like a lower like countertop and standard kind of like swing doors. The next project we're going to look at was at Annette, and this was for a cool old church that was repurposed. I think it was on Annette and Dovercourt. And for this one, we did a sliding door. We did a little cabinet, which was hiding like the hot water tank, the on-demand hot water tank, some floating shelves. And we did a unit right near the front door, which was just for keys and, shoes and like little odds and end dog leash, things like that. And a little mirror, which concealed the electrical panel, which was pretty unsightly as soon as you come in the door. It's right there. What we charged for that, we charged $6,840 for that set. Next project we have is a 20-foot long credenza with a bunch of 20-foot long shelves below or above, and I got an additional add-on extra job to that, which was these like George Nelson kind of inspired benches. The cabinet with the floating shelves was $24K, and then the follow-up for the George Nelson benches, which were like kind of angled to fit like this like radiused facade of the building. It was around $6,500 for that. Moving on from there, I did a project on Carlaw. It was a kitchen, and it was retaining a large number of the cabinets on the wall side. It was a brand new island. With some funky, cool cabinetry details on the outside, which I really like doing. It was nice to kind of mix it up, not all just a box job. And then it was refacing the existing cabinets on the wall side, and I charged $16,926 for that. That was a cool job. I like that one. Following that, I did a really small, kind of like handy job that just kind of popped in out of nowhere. Super cheap, I guess, in relative to the other ones, but considering what it was, I didn't really care if I got the job or not, so I just kind of like threw a number at it. It was this clothing ladder for a store, and I didn't even remember what store that was. That was a long time ago. Anyways, I charged $850 for this item. The next project I had was on Ellis Park Road. It was a cool white oak record cabinet with sliding doors and little slats. You could put your records in there and the record player would sit on top. And then there was also a sliding door which closed off that room. So kind of like the two pieces really tied together really well. And like the slats were scaled down on the record cabinet so that things were kind of proportionately like figured out. And with that project, they actually also gave me another extra job after the fact. It was for a queen size bed for the guest room. It was like a platform bed. I had made a few of those. I had originally made one at a company that I worked for previously. And then when I left, I guess some requests for that bed kept coming in. So I made a couple others. This was a knockdown style version of it and charged $46.50. The next project I had, I only charged $4,500 for it, and this was a bed I really didn't like making at all. The client gave me the design. They had seen my platform bed that I just showed, and they were interested in that. But then when I came and had the meeting with them, they actually propositioned that I also do this other type of design. At the end of the meeting, we decided on doing the one that they were offering or they brought to the table. And it really, in a terrible turn of events, I installed the bed for them, and they didn't like it in the end, their own design, and they wanted the other one, and they wanted to return the first one, which wasn't going to happen. I'm not going to throw away 2 weeks of work just to get another job. You know, there's no benefit there for me. Next job I got was a dining room table. It was made out of cherry, and then I did oak legs with a blackened stain on the bottom. It kind of fit with a couple other like details on a cherry sideboard that the client already had, and it was $5,000 for this table here. The first job I ever got, this is a cool one. I was actually still working at a millwork company or like a design build architecture firm at the time, and a buddy of mine approached me. He had a deal with some mixed media artists where he was going to do some like sensors and LED lights for the mixed media artists. And he brought me in, and it was the only job where I ever used MDF, which I hate. I hate MDF. But as a first job, kind of like dipping my toe into, working for myself, it was a good one. My boss at the time was super nice. He ordered, like, as he was doing a run of material, he picked up a sheet for me. He let me use his shop on the weekends, and like when it came time to deliver it, I also was able to, he helped me deliver it because he had a truck and a trailer at the time. It was kind of a small project, which was good at the time. I couldn't handle much more than that. And I actually had some help from another buddy, Adrian, who helped me out on that one too. So we made that together, and that was just like $1,600 just for the MDF. It was a tapered pentagon shape. The mixed media artist did the rest of it as terms of like color, spray finishing, and including all the the circuits and things like that. It was really just the shell that I was preparing for them, and it was cool. It went to the Royal Ontario Museum. And I wish I had more video and things like that of it, but it would have a big dome at the top, and it had all like sort of like ocean creatures, like showing up on the projection, and there was a bunch of sensors around the Pentagon, and as more and more people would come closer, there would be fewer and fewer animals that were showing up, and it was just kind of like a piece about, human interaction with the ocean and like the balance of that. And it had a bunch of cool like LED lights, which would like show up and like light up. So people would kind of be attracted to it to kind of get that experience of like, to see the interaction between population of people and impact on the ocean. I didn't do a lot of outdoor work, but I did one cedar deck, and we charged $9,000 for that. It was right before winter, and I remember being very, like when we started, it was super hot, but when we finished, it was like friggin' cold, man. And so I was happy to get out of the outdoors. Not that like it's much better in here. This is uninsulated, and there's no heat source other than like a couple heat lamps that I'll set up from time to time, but honestly, it gets chilly as hell in this shop. And the last one I'm going to go through was a kitchen where I charged I was working with another guy at the time, and he was kind of organizing the price and the design with the client. And I think we got absolutely hosed on this. I think we just charged way too little. I don't think we were like super busy at the time either. So it was kind of those beggars can't be choosers situations. But I wasn't involved in any of the negotiations, and I think we got spanked on that one. This one was $10,000, and it led to a bunch of extras where we kind of maybe picked up a little bit more to recoup on where we lost. It was the Baltic Birch white pressed kitchen. It landed us on the cover of a magazine, which is nice. And then we also did, as an extra, did the extension of the island, which was like a sort of a eating, a dining table, and and then it led to an entryway, sort of like millwork job, and then also a little side cabinet where I think we picked up a little bit more, which is good. So yeah, that's what I charged. I don't know if you agree with the pricing or not. Let me know what you think. I'm kind of interested if you think I charge way too much or way too little at times. Working for yourself is challenging. I never actually made it out of this single car garage. There's been times where I was thinking I should have kept going, but then also I'm glad I actually stopped woodworking for a living, because something happens where you turn your passion into a means of living, and you make certain concessions which aren't aligned with your passion, and it's really hard to reconcile that, and you're not always doing the kind of work you want to be doing. I think at a certain time you can get so good and have such a waiting list where you can pick and choose your jobs, but I think until you get to that stage, I think it's a rough little go. So anyways, that's what I charged. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you thought it was interesting. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much. Bye.